Hey YouTube, Outcast here, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a hot minute since I actually did one of these videos for you guys. Unfortunately I don't have too much of an excuse. The only thing I can really tell you is that life got in the way. I know that maybe sounds a little bit cliche, a little bit corny, and plenty of other people have probably used that excuse, but yeah, unfortunately I've literally just not had a spare minute to actually do any kind of content. But I'm back, and hopefully I'm going to be back to normally. Hopefully we can actually start getting more videos out for you guys. So in today's video I wanted to go over my locals topping deck profile for Agumon. Some of you may already have seen this over on my Twitter. I posted a few weeks ago that I went to my first ever locals tournament and I actually won. It wasn't anything massive, it was only 4 rounds, but I was able to go undefeated. Really happy with how the deck performed. The deck itself has actually been pretty much blowing up in popularity in North America and Europe, so I'm really excited to go over it with you guys, but enough of my rambling, let's hop into the deck profile. Up first in the deck profile we are going to be going over our Tamers. We have 3 copies of the BT6 Pokèmon, and I'm also playing 2 copies of Digimon. I wouldn't change anything about this lineup. Obviously you could go a different route and you could go 4-1, either way you want. You could also play Meramon if you want. I see quite a lot of people playing this, but for the time being I'm actually really happy with Digimon and Koromon. Because of the amount of Greymons that we have in here, it allows us to get a bit of extra draw power from the deck as well. For our rookies, we are obviously playing quite a few. This is an Agumon deck after all. So we're playing 4 copies of the BT6 Agumon. Would not play any less than this. You kind of need it at 4 so that it actually combos off with your Tamers really well to be able to then warp Digivolve into your bond. We also play 4 copies of the promo Agumon. This is really good for comboing with your Greymons. One in particular, which I'm going to show you just shortly, gives plus 2000 DP to any card that's got Greymon in its name. Another cheap alternative is 4 copies of the new starter deck, Agumon. This came out of the Agumonbondofbravery starter deck. Again, it gives plus 2000 DP, and it's not just to Greymon, it's to actually any Digimon. So if you warp Digivolve this card into your Agumon, then it will get plus 2000 DP, meaning it can swing for like 16,000 in total, which is pretty insane. Only other rookies we play, we have 3 copies of the Tamer Agumon, and we have the 1 copy of Agumon Expert. The Tamer Agumon is a really good card. It's good for being able to dig through your deck, but it can sometimes be a double-edged sword. So the one thing I would advise is do not play any more than 3. To be completely honest with you, I'm actually contemplating dropping it down to 2, because there are some times when I'm going through the deck, you can sometimes hit the cards that you need, so maybe like a Gaia Force or one of your Greymon or your Agumon, and then it has to get sent to the bottom of the deck. Agumon Expert is in here. Again, it's a no-brainer. We have so many Agumon in the deck, we kind of need it just to recycle them. I wouldn't play any more than 1 because it does get a little bit bricky if you have more than 1. The only other good thing I would say about it is it does combo off quite nicely with our bond. Because Agumonbond does have Agumon in the name, you can actually recycle that back from your trash as well. Moving on, we are now going to go onto our champions. These are all our level 4 Digimon. We are playing 4 copies of the promo Greymon. This card is absolutely broken right now. Genuinely an insane card, and there's a lot of the time that you're probably going to be able to win games with this card without even having to play your bond. It's genuinely just such a good card. If you have an Agumon in its evolution pile, then it gets plus 1 security attack. And if you combo it with the right Agumon, it can get plus 2000 DP. If you combo it with any of your option cards or your Digitama, it can get extra DP, get extra security attack. So the card at one point, like at its strongest, it can be swinging for 8000 DP doing 3 security checks, which for a champion is pretty busted if you ask me, but definitely a good card. Wouldn't recommend playing any less than 4. The other champions we play are 4 copies of Geo Greymon. This is another really good card that you can get from the starter deck, the new Agumonbondofbravery starter deck. You could drop this down to 3 if you want, but I'm quite happy running 4 at the moment. We have 4 copies of Agumon, and then lastly we have 2 copies of Koromon. Agumon in here, wow. This card honestly wins games. It's pretty busted as well. One thing that people like to do is usually build up their Tamers. This is not just with the Agumon deck, this is with both the Gabumon and the Agumon deck. Build up their Tamers, and then start swinging either with their Gabumon or with their champions, whatever, to lower their opponent's security stack. And because this only costs 2 to play, you can promote one of your Tamers into this and then just swing for game and win. So it is a pretty busted card. You could also play, I think it's Burning Greymon, but I'm quite happy with the Agumon for the moment in time. Cordramon is literally in here because I just felt like we had to have something to kind of bump up the deck a little bit, give it a little bit more consistency. You could obviously take this out. One thing that I have seen people playing is Magnadramon, so I have considered doing that. Obviously it's a good way for you to be able to replenish your security stack, but for the moment in time I'm quite happy actually just playing the 2 Cordramon. So the last Digimon that we play in the deck is none other than the big boss man himself, and that is going to be 4 copies of Agumon. I'm a little bit tilted, or triggered, whatever you want to call it, the fact that they call this Bond of Bravery rather than Bond of Courage, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But this card as well is absolutely broken. It can swing for 2 if you combo it with the right Agumon. Obviously the only drawback is the fact that you will have to delete 2 of your own security stack. But yeah, this card is absolutely busted. I know some people prefer to go for Gabumon, they think it's a bit more consistent, but I'm a little bit biased when it comes to these kinds of things, and I prefer Agumon. I just think that it is genuinely such a beautiful looking card, and Agumon is just one of my favourite characters in the series as well. Moving on to our Tamers, we are playing quite a few in this deck, which some people will probably not be surprised at considering it's a Bond deck. So we play 4 copies of Taikamiya, and we play 3 copies of Marcus Damon. Both of these cards, again, really good, wouldn't change them. I wouldn't recommend playing any less than 4 of Tai. You kind of need this for comboing off with your Agumon. It's another good way to be able to gain extra memory. The Marcus in here is really good for comboing with your Greymon, for when you swing you can suspend it and then gain an extra memory. Also at the start of your turn, if you have less than 2, you can automatically set your memory to 3. So another good way to make the deck a little bit more consistent, especially given the fact that red decks, they don't have too many ways to gain memory, so I would not recommend playing any less than these. Only other card that you could play now that EX1's out, you could obviously put a copy of Analog Boy in there, which I've seen quite a lot of people doing. We are also going to be playing our option cards. We've got quite a few, and some of these cards will make the deck a little bit more aggressive. We have 3 copies of Gaia Force, probably to nobody's surprise right now in the red decks, this is pretty much a staple. We have 2 copies of Atomic Blaster. I'm considering putting this up to 3, but right now I'm quite happy with just the 2. We also have 2 copies of Lightning Joust, which is again an absolutely broken card, and it can literally turn like some of your champions into just mini bosses and swinging for game. We have 1 copy of probably the weirdest sounding card that I've come across in the game so far, and that is Red Reamer. If you're going to drop any cards from your options, it would probably be this one, and then I would probably bump the Atomic Blaster up to 3, but I'm quite happy with the 1 at the moment. And then lastly we have the 1 copy of the Red Memory Boost. Like I said, this is in here because red just doesn't have too many ways of being able to gain memory, so this is a nice little addition to it. I wouldn't change too much about this lineup. All of these cards, they help benefit the deck in some way, shape or form. The only thing that I would take out would probably be Red Reamer, and I would probably bump Atomic Blaster up to 3. But for the moment in time, I'm quite happy with this. So that's going to about do it for this week's episode, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Closing thoughts on the deck, like I said, I'm really happy with how it performed. I wouldn't change too much about it. That being said, I do already have another deck list in mind coming up in the very short future. Now that we've got EX1 out, I do feel that there are quite a few cards that we can add to this deck just to help make it even more consistent and a bit better. Now that we have Nationals around the corner, I'd love to get your thoughts on what you think is going to win. Do you think it's going to be Lilithloop? Do you think it's going to be Gabumon? Or do you think it's going to be Agumon? Or is there something else that I've maybe missed? Is there another deck out there that you think is going to take the crown? Let me know down in the comment section. If you want to keep up to date with all my content, make sure that you go and hit that subscribe button as well. Make sure you hit the notification bell. If you want to as well, feel free to go and follow me over on Twitter. And I will catch you all in the next one, folks.
Pick up.